Day 2 in building 100 startups for 100 days. The problem I tried to solve today was giving the AI maximum context of my startup ideas. What I usually use is asking for 20 relevant questions to my startup idea and I start answering them. And with that, I have as much context as possible. The problem with this approach was that most of the questions weren't really relevant to my case. They're just a general template that I need to go through, and I wanted to find a better way to handle this input to give the AI maximum knowledge about my idea. Because of that, I created qualifyidea.com. It's really a unique name. The idea of the platform is to ask relevant questions to your topic, which could be your startup idea, and to get the full context and pass it to your AI agent. So what we simply do with the platform is we generate questions that we need to answer to. I need to brainstorm one of my other startup ideas, which is for day 3 or tomorrow. And to do so, I need to create a new qualification. The startup idea, I still don't have a name, but is domain hunter. We want an application that will generate a unique name for our application that has available domain that we can register. We need to give a brief description of our idea. To be more efficient, I started using Whisperfall, which allows me to transcribe my speech quickly. So what I'll do, I'll just share the description that I have in my head right now. I want to build a platform which will generate names and suggest names for my startups. It will give me a list of suggestions which I can choose from. The more I interact with the platform, the more accurate it should get. It should check for .com names, domain names, via the Namecheap API. And what else? Let's see. But yeah, let's start with brief introduction of the idea and we can follow up from there. Once we create the qualification, we can start with generating the questions. So now we'll push a request to generate the first question from the platform. Okay, what user input should the generator require? Keywords, industry, tone, length, language. Let's think about it. We can share preferences. Do we want a short domain name or long domain name? We should be able to select if it wants to be descriptive or more of the creative side. We want to share brief description of the product and the problem we're trying to solve. Keywords, industry, tone, length, language, industry, competitors. I need to brainstorm more on that to find the accurate parameters to pass as inputs. Now as we have our answer here, we can rate our answer from 1 to 10. I'm not sure if I was really descriptive with this answer, so I will just rate myself around 5, 6, and I'll go to the next question. So now with this request, we'll give the context of our initial prompt and our first question and answer. And from this, the platform will decide what is the best follow-up question to ask. Which user interaction should the system learn from to personalize suggestions, select, rejects, edit, saves, purchases? It will be an MVP, so we will not have any features for purchases. We will simply have a redirect to Namecheap. Interaction should the system learn from to personalize suggestion. Okay, previous selects would be the main one. As we do suggestions, user can select their favorites. The next suggestion should have in mind what were the favorites of the user. Rejects is also a powerful one. We can choose names we really don't like, and those can be also used as context for our domain name. Okay, I'm slightly more happy with this answer here. And again, I'll follow the next one. As we generate the third question, we'll get the context from the first and the second. And I expect to have more accuracy with the more I use the platform. Should the platform check? No, for now it's just MVP. We're sure about it. We want to keep the MVP as simple as possible, nothing fancy. Should the generator only suggest available.com base or include an available modifier? It should suggest only available. It should be nice to list the price as well because of the premium domains. Domains might range between $10 and $3,000. It would be nice to have a filter at the beginning of our budget for our domain, and from there the app should suggest only the filtered options. Modified alternative LTD. We want to keep it as straightforward as possible, and for MVP, let's make it as simple as possible. Okay, I'm done with this as well. I just went through 4 of the questions, and if I go to questions list, I can see all my previous questions and answers, and the real power of the tool comes with the copy as MD. We can copy the whole history of our brainstorm, of our Q&A session from now, and we can pass it to Cloud or GPT to continue with our work. We can generate landing pages, further brainstorm the idea, generate a pitch deck. It's up to imagination. The main problem we want to solve here is to pull the maximum context from the user in order to empower them to use the AI agents more efficiently. As part of the process of building the platform, I conducted 2 user interviews with close friends of mine, which are both software engineers, and we just simply had a call with a screen sharing session. I just watched them how they interact with the platform and how they brainstorm the idea. A few really key learnings, as for example, engineers or people that are not really passionate about the product tend to test the product with dummy data that doesn't make any sense. So it's really important, if you want to get the most out of the platform, to use an idea that really matters to you and you have knowledge about the topic, and that would be the best way to utilize it rather than simply brainstorming a random idea. So using ideas that matters is key learning. With the first test user, we brainstormed 2 ideas. We pulled QA for 2 ideas. The first idea was just a random one that didn't matter to them, and they just lost it. And the second idea was something that really mattered for them, and I really saw the fire and the interaction with the user with that platform. So that was really a key learning from that interview. We had a bunch of feature requests from the users, performance optimizations. All those are important, but for MVP, I'm not sure it would be important to prioritize. And that came to the point that in the customer interview, the goal is not to pull feature suggestions, but to really understand the problem that we're trying to solve and the value that we bring to our users. What else helpful we can pull from here? Let me just highlight the important pieces. Push users to enter much information as possible. Yes, that's important. Most of the cases we can answer the question with one-liner, but the more information we bring, the better. And because of that, I really motivate people to use tools as Whisperfall to be more efficient in entering the data. When you type, you're probably 3 or even sometimes 4 times slower than when you speak. So using a tool to transcribe your speech really helps you to take the most out of the platform. Okay, give some guides. Second, yeah, I see a bunch of low priorities here. Questions were not really relevant. That's not really, that might be identified as a small bug, that sometimes the suggestion is not great as it should be, but for MVP should be alright. Okay, speed, he said okay, he was ambitious to get. Okay, in the second test we can see in gen the ambition of the user to use the product. Again, we might use this as a point, but when we validate our ideas, in my opinion, we should always try to charge for the product, because when the user gives a sacrifice, spent money, spent a lot of time, is a real proof that the user is interested in the platform. So simply hearing words as, yeah, I will use it, or that product is great, that's just bullshit feedback. Try to dig as much deeper to make sure that we're solving a real problem. As key learnings from today and building quantifyidea.com, I think AI skills was something that unlocked on Quote. I tried, I think it's UI UX Pro Max, that will improve the designs. With the hype, people say it's 100x than normal, but I would say it's probably 1.5x improvement. But still, it's nice addition. 1.5x, it's still a win. But my real point is that it's mostly a hype, what we see in social media. Improving the tokens usage with Graphify and Obsidian was something I digged into. I still haven't implemented it, but I think that's a great opportunity to build a second brain of your large language model, and to have one place to store the previous conversations and to map them properly. So once we interact with your agent, they have the full context of your previous conversations, and that can save you some tokens. And third learning is pulling information from user interviews. I haven't done user interviews for the previous project. I mostly pitched the products, which is wrong. You should really try to understand the problem you're trying to solve, the value that you're bringing to your user, and really if that's something important for the users and you solve this problem, that would sure helps for making sure that the startup will work. And what I want to improve on probably for tomorrow is building a boilerplate. What I found with day 2, I repeated most of the work from day 1 and started with most of the things from the ground up, as for example building the Nuxt, the Supabase. And it would be nice probably to play with the skills in Quote, or just to find a better way to avoid repeating the same work and to automate the process a little bit more. For day 3, I tried to bring the idea with domain name generator. As we've seen, we'll have hundreds of ideas that I'll need to find a relevant domain to each one. So having a platform that enables me to find correct name and to find the domain name quickly is crucial for me. So I think that would be a really great problem to solve. That's from day 2. See you in day 3.